All right. Steve Cook here. We are 1 week out from the Olympia. We get the music going. It's posing room time. You guys are gonna need a couple things for this. So first off, you're gonna need some music, because posing is all about, it's almost like dancing. You gotta have your rhythm in there. You're gonna want your board shorts. You're gonna want, a cell phone that you can take pictures and also video on there. It's important because you have to be able to see how you're looking, even in posing not in front. Gotta sneeze there. Anyhow, you gotta look, you gotta see, be able to see, have a gym partner or a trusted friend take pictures of you while you're posing. I don't want you always looking in the mirror. So sometimes you need to hit a pose, take a shot to see how it looks. But right now, I'm gonna go get changed in my board shorts, meet you back in here. This is posing, men's physique. Let's get it done. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what you asked for. Steve Cook coming at you. And we're back in our board shorts. So a little bit about posing. You wanna start practice posing from the very get-go. From the minute you enter the gym, I was practicing posing as a little kid. Walking by a mirror, we all do it, we all flex. We see pictures of Arnold so intense on flexing while he's working out with his gym partners. Flexing and posing practice, it doesn't happen just during contest prep. Year round, I'm practicing isometric, contractions between sets. This helps with that mind-muscle connection. And then during competition time, you have to ramp up that posing like crazy. You do this because there's that hardened, polished look that almost like, your body's you only get so much work when you're working out with the weights. The isometric flexing really brings up the tiny little detail, the serratuses, the little muscle tie-ins in between things that you really can't work on unless you're specifically holding poses for a long period of time. So posing contest prep starts about 12 weeks out, and it gradually gets more and more demanding to where a week out, I'm gonna be practicing a lot. And like I said, being a week out right now, I'm gonna be hitting posing very hard today and specifically tomorrow, scheduling a photo shoot. Why? Because everyone always thinks, after a contest, after a couple of nice meals and then all that posing they do on stage during a contest, a couple days after they look great. So what I do is I try to emulate a whole week in advance a competition. So I'll come in Saturday, pose for an hour, Sunday take pictures all day, get more posing in, and then I'll pose during the week. Not quite as much as I would Saturday and Sunday, but I'll pose during the week. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I run through everything. So first off, let's talk about board shorts. Like I always say, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So we're just gonna start off real basic. So if you're new to the men's physique or bodybuilding world, obviously I'm sure everyone's hit their little poses in the mirror, but it's not quite the same. Get with an experienced bodybuilder or me and learn how to do the poses. That's what this video is gonna be all about. There's a lot of, when it comes to posing, you're gonna need endurance. You're gonna be able to need to control your facial expressions. Your core and chest is gonna need to be tight. You're gonna have to know the angles you look good from, but everything up here says you're having a great time. And even for men's physique, it's a little bit different because there's a walk you have to do. You have to have confidence, that swagger, and that's all about practice, practice, practice. So usually for me, as I get closer to a contest, I'll ramp up my posing. Right now, I'm posing roughly 30 minutes a day. And what I like to do is I wake up in the morning and you're depleted, you're tired. The last thing your muscles feel like doing is flexing. So what do? I get in front of the mirror and I just go through my poses. Now what I do, and it's kind of my secret, so I'm letting you guys in on this right now. So when I turn on my music, it's go time. I get my mindset, and like I said, it's almost like dancing. But if you guys need to hear me, so we're gonna turn that off. But no matter what, even if you're just getting ready for a photo shoot, you need to be learning how to pose. And posing is a lost art. You look at guys like Frank Zane, Ed Corney, and even the bodybuilders today are great posers, but there's a lot of physique guys that I see come out and they have great physiques, but they don't know how to showcase them. So they get on stage, and everything is lost in translation. You don't, you want to make that crowd think in their head, and those judges think in your head, man, this guy is having the time of his life. He looks great, he feels great. I want to be that guy. That's what I want. When I step on stage, I want people to say, I want to be that guy. I want to be Steve Cook. Posing, probably my favorite part. So it's the hard work is done. You're lean. I'm a little flat right now, but it is all about showcasing what you have. So first things first, in front of a mirror, especially if you're starting out, you have to learn. You can't just pose. You have to be able to see yourself. So we're gonna go through the bodybuilding poses first. So if you're starting out, all bodybuilding poses start from the ground up. You get to have a good first. Keeping everything tight. So after you've mastered the symmetry round, round 2 is gonna be the mandatory poses. First one, usually is a front lat spread. This one takes place just like any other, starting from the ground up. So again, keeping the legs slightly bent, toes pointed slightly out, keep that chest high. Dimension in my posing, create some depth to bring out more. And again, hold this for a minute. Going into our tricep. Thumbs needed for that polished on stage look. That deep V. The intercostals come out, but I lose that deep V. I like that deep V, so this is my money shot. The first one the judges see. When I walk out, I'm hammering it up with the crowd. The walk, everything is tight. So the one thing, you see a lot of guys and they get their name called and they walk out and they hit their shot. Fellas, you are being looked at from the very get-go. People in the crowd, they don't just see you, they don't have their eyes closed and they don't see you when you hit your first shot. You have to exude that confidence, that excitement from the very minute your name's called. So if you see, long before there was ever men's physique in the Fit Body USA contest from Bodybuilding.com, before I even go on stage, the music's playing and I'm getting into it. And it's almost like, before football players go out on the field, they get their little chant. For me, that's, you don't have to do that. It's what I've known, it's what I've grown up with, but I'm getting psyched up. So when I walk out there, I like to look, big smile is the first thing you give. For me, men's physique is about smiling and it's about a good smile and a nice set of abs. So the minute your name gets called, big smile, maybe a wave to the crowd, maybe a couple fist pumps in the air, depending on your mood. If you got music going and you're feeling it, do it. The main thing is you have to do whatever makes you comfortable. Because being comfortable, you will exude and just soak out confidence. So, I'm feeling it. In my head, you have to realize I've been practicing this posing. And when I'm practicing posing, I'm visualizing it. And when I'm visualizing it, I'm winning. Every time I'm winning. And that visualization has to carry over. It carries over on stage. And that confidence, you already know you won. Just now for the judges and for the people in the crowd to see the winner. If you felt like that, if you really believed it, you'd go out there and you'd murder that stage. And the people would just, they would agree with you. And I feel like in the shows I've won, I've known that I'm the best. And when I go out there, I show that. And it's almost like you can't help as a judge to award that person the first place. They expect it. So that visualization when you're practicing is very important. That's why I like to play the music too. Today, for you guys, we're not playing the music, so a ton of time. But guess what? You've put 12 long weeks, at least 12 weeks, into this prep. I'm not gonna let anyone tell me that I can't take a couple steps on stage. I'm gonna showcase my physique, and that requires me taking a couple steps. So, I'm gonna hit a shot, boom. It's eye-catching. It's just slight movement in the middle pose. And then it's gonna be a slow turnaround, and I'm gonna leave it takes practice. It takes practice, weeks and weeks of practice. So when you step on stage, get some crazy pump. You're gonna be on stage for a while. You know, you're not gonna get some crazy pump that is going to be, you know, it's gonna last you, you know, 2 hours. And you know, I keep my water in, I keep my sodium in. A lot of guys don't backstage and they can't get a pump. That's another little tip. You know, a lot of guys cutting that out. You know, men's physique, it's all about being lean. You know, I'm lean, but I'm not gonna be super, super dry with striations everywhere. You know, I'll sacrifice that for a nice round muscle belly and being able to get a pump backstage. So again, bodybuilding poses, practice your men's physique walk, practice that confidence over and over and over again. But again, I get a lot of guys that I work with. I do posing practice. You know, online, you can, you know, rent me out, you know, hire me to help you out with the angles that look best for you. You know, I hit this pose. A lot of guys don't look good doing that. A lot of guys, they feel better, more comfortable with their foot in front, keeping their chest real high, or maybe more straight legged. It is all dependent on your genetics. I got, you know, bigger legs, bigger booty, so I try to bring in a powerful base and keep everything, you know, my serratuses and obliques are good, so I try to highlight those as well. You know, my arms, I don't try to kind of tuck them away because they are a little bit bigger. You have to know, you know. And again, it's also going to be dependent upon, now when you have the call out rounds, the judges are going to be calling out front pose. So my front pose, it's not straight on. Some guys do the straight on thing. You know, it's fine, but for me, I'm just gonna be a little bit tilted. The judges have never said anything, it's just a little bit tilted. It's still front pose. And then they call it to the side. It's nice and slow, and I'm gonna be one of the last guys to finally blowing out all that air. Big smile, hand on the hip, and then again, depending on who I'm standing next to, I might get a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. If I'm not next to a very big guy, I'm gonna have to kind of shrink away those arms a little bit. I won't get as wide on my back flat. But if I'm next to a fairly big guy, you know, I'm gonna stand high. So I am one of the biggest physique guys, so I usually I have to worry about being too big rather than not looking big enough. But again, these are all things you think about, you go through, you plan and practice everything. So when you're on stage, everything is second nature. All you're doing is having fun. Because at the end of the day, the person who I think has the most fun on stage is gonna get points for that, you know, and if that makes sense, you know, if you look like you're having fun, you're gonna get rewarded for that. Anyhow, give it a go. That's Steve Cook, posing. Practice that posing. We'll see y'all at the Olympia.